Antonin Scalia has just passed away, of course, a Supreme Court justice. Now, he was enormously conservative, but I don't want anybody celebrating his death. That's not what we do. We're the good guys. You wouldn't want anybody celebrating a liberal Supreme Court justice's death, right? So now, on the other hand, right now, the conservatives are busy lionizing him. Oh, what an intellectual, what an incredibly brilliant legal mind. And oh, he was so principled. And the mainstream media, I guarantee you, right now is playing along with that narrative. Oh, he was a strict constructionist. He cared about the founding fathers, and he was so principled. Okay, we have to be clear on the record right now, whether he's alive or he's passed away, you have to be honest about his record. He was no such thing. He was an enormous hypocrite. For all my life, and by the way, I am a conservative judicially speaking. In fact, I was in the Federalist Society for a long time, which is a very conservative group in judicial circles. I'm no longer in the Federalist Society, but I still hold a lot of my conservative judicial views. Now, I had thought that Scalia was a hero. I'm a Republican, I'm conservative judicially, and I believe in the myth of him being principled, right? And then every once in a while I'd see an opinion, I go, wait a minute, that's the Republican position, but that doesn't make any sense because that goes counter to what Scalia has said in the past. And then I saw it again and again and again. And then I realized, oh my God, Scalia doesn't care about principles. He's going to vote for the Republican side and his own religious beliefs, no matter what the law is, no matter what the precedent is. Now, there's literally dozens of examples of this, but I'll give you the most famous one. For all my life, Scalia has been talking about states' rights. The states have rights. Look at the Constitution. We must let the states decide. And then in Bush v. Gore in 2000, Florida said, we have the right to count any way we like. We want to make sure we recount the state to make sure we've got the right winner of the election. Scalia and the other conservatives stepped in and said, we don't care about states' rights at all. States' rights are irrelevant. Florida has no states' rights. No, you're not allowed to recount. Oh, so it turns out you were a giant hypocrite. And we just did a story on another hypocrisy he had just yesterday on the show. He wrote a book explaining how if there are two contradictory laws, you must let the executive branch decide. And then the executive branch comes in with new EPA rulings. He reverses himself from his own book and says, no, you don't let the executive branch decide. No, we're not going to let them decide. The guy just wanted to get to the conclusion that was based on his politics. So whatever you hear on TV is not true in that if they go to say, oh, he was principled. He isn't. Any legal scholar that studied him knows that, okay? So there'll be a lot of mythology. Now, I'll give you exact quotes from Scalia to give you a sense of what Scalia was actually like. On a death row case, Troy Davis, there was substantial evidence, according to the court, Justice Stevens, that he was innocent. 7 out of the 9 witnesses had recanted, saying, no, he didn't do it. Here's what Scalia wrote in his dissent. This court has never held that the Constitution forbids the execution of a convicted defendant who has had a full and fair trial, but is later able to convince a habeas court that he is actually innocent. In other words, I don't give a damn that he's actually innocent. If we went through the correct procedure, put him to death anyway. That's who Scalia is. I've got more quotes for you. What he loved to do is deny other people rights. When it came to his group, oh, no, they have to have all the rights in the world. But when it came to other groups, here was his thought on the LGBT community. Quote, if we cannot have moral feelings against homosexuality, can we have it against murder? Can we have it against other things? Wow. More. Now, this is when it comes to atheists. With respect to public acknowledgement of religious belief, it is entirely clear from our nation's historical practices that the Establishment Clause permits this disregard of polytheists and believers in unconcerned deities, just as it permits the disregard of devout atheists. He made the unbelievable assertion that the Constitution says, yeah, even though we're not allowed to establish a religion, we are allowed to discriminate against atheists. But when it comes to his own religion, principles be damned, the Constitution be damned, the strict interpretation of the obvious words of the Constitution be damned. He doesn't like atheists. He doesn't like gay people. He's going to rule against them no matter what. This guy had no principles.